I haven't been following this drama for like any reason whatsoever, but like recently there was something that caught my eye for the recent Amazing Digital Circus fandom. Gooseworks has recently come out to say that they are quite anxious about ending the show, and she's very scared about what the finale is going to do to the fandom, even to the point of possibly never even revisiting this show again. But the drama is not what I'm here to talk about. Rather, I'm here to talk about the anxiety of having to build a finale for your indie series. As far back as I can remember, I've been on the internet for a very long time. And it's no secret that I'm pretty aware of a lot of indie series and a lot of webcomics and a lot of different things. And there's one thing that most of these series have in common, is that they almost never get finished. Like, the pattern is just always the same. Like, they put in all the characters, put the world that they're in, they start building up all this tension, all these conflicts and stakes, and then right when it gets to a very big pivotal moment in the series, you learn that creator hasn't been active on that same story for like years, and they still haven't finished the finale. I've seen it happen on many different platforms like Webtoon, DeviantArt, many other art websites where you can post your own comics. And I think one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people don't finish their stories is because they're really worried about how the finale is going to affect the story that they've made. Endings carry all this weight, like the weight of everything that came before them. Every character, every promise, every emotional investment. And when a story becomes really popular, the pressure multiplies. Because now you're not just finishing your story, you're closing a world that thousands or millions of people have become emotionally attached to. No pressure, right? The creators don't stop because they're careless or lazy. They stop because they care too much to risk disappointing everybody. We forget that behind every series is a real person, someone dealing with fear, exhaustion, expectations, mental health, and life. They're not machines built to produce perfect endings. They are not AI. They're human beings doing the best that they can. What an ending is supposed to do is that it's supposed to make good on the promises that the storyteller has made at the beginning of the story. This is totally Brandon Sanderson logic, by the way. If you make promises in your story, you gotta make good on those promises. And if you try to subvert expectations by pulling the rug under people's feet and trying to hit them with like the craziest plot twist or unimaginable ending that you possibly could, I'm afraid you're barking up the wrong tree. Trust me when I say that a lot of stories out there have tried that same tactic and they all fail spectacularly. Game of Thrones did this, season 8 was very disappointing. People hated it. Arcane Season 2 took 3 years for it to come out, and it divided everybody. And then there was Stranger Things, like that took like 10 years to come out, and like people still ended up hating the ending. And those shows had like millions of dollars backing them. And as we've seen in recent years, just because you spend millions of dollars on your project does not mean that it is going to be good. I think another thing that can cause this anxiety is sometimes creators engage with their audiences like they're just another fan. And while that can feel warm and personal, it can also blur boundaries. Suddenly, expectations feel closer, opinions, they feel louder, and disappointment feels personal. What starts as a community can slowly become just more pressure. Then there's, of course, the vocal minority, which are, a very small group that's very loud, very demanding, often very disrespectful. They don't represent most fans, but their volume can overwhelm everything else. And when the creators are constantly exposed to that negativity, it can drain motivation, confidence, and joy. And for Gooseworks, this has especially been a massive problem for her. And again, I'm not here to get into the drama. I'm here to talk about how much pressure there is to actually make a finale. The finale to a series can absolutely make or break a fandom. Fortunately, sometimes, if not most of the time, life just kind of gets in the way of even the lives of the creators. So we end up getting finales that are, less than we were expecting. Game of Thrones' finale, that one was a little bit hard to do because, George R.R. Martin hasn't even written the ending to the series. So, what were they supposed to do? And I don't really know what excuse the Stranger Things writers, the Duffer Brothers, had, but what I do remember is that they admitted that they actually had no plan going into season 5. They just kind of made it up as they went. Which doesn't really look good on a show that took a whole decade to come out, does it? Hollywood over the years has instilled this idea into our heads that every finale has to be big and super impactful and be a massive crowd pleaser, which isn't bad. I personally love a good crowd-pleasing finale, and on other occasions, I like a finale that's quiet and just leaves you thinking about the whole story. But believe me, an audience can tell when the ending just doesn't align with the rest of the story. There's a term for this, it's called tonal whiplash. Some storytelling giants and tons of online opinions are always trying to convince indie creators that their stories and their finales have to be super big and subversive. They gotta pull the rug underneath you and just make you feel super shocked about what just happened. Instead of trying to tell a story and continue to build on that trust that you have with the audience, it's more like, witness my narrative genius, mortals. Relax, you're not Christopher Nolan. You don't have to be. Instead of demanding immortal finales, we should be asking for honest ones. Ones that feel satisfying and natural to the actual story that they're trying to tell. Stories don't need to be perfect, they just need to be sincere. And creators deserve patience, empathy, and grace, just like the rest of us. So, final message to anyone out there. Fans, creators, Gooseworks, even you. Make the story that you want to make. End it the way that you feel is right. Choose the ending that feels natural to the journey, not the one that is the most shocking. Don't chase theorists, chase the people who will stay. You don't need to subvert expectations just to get attention. You don't need twists to prove your intelligence. You don't need spectacle to justify your story. What matters is sincerity. And don't forget that no matter how your story ends, most people are eventually going to say,
what else is on?
Yeah, let's see what else.
Where's the TV guy?
and that's okay. Stories become unforgettable by being honest and true to what they are, not by trying to be immortal and popular. In conclusion, I think that we can all try to be adults here and just enjoy the stories that we have and just see what comes next. And to Gooseworks and the entire Glitch Productions team, you guys can do this. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with.